Okay, just come back from Benidorm beach and my kebab takeaway. Looks tempting. Let's see if we get any luck here. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Arsal.
Asla. My name's Howard. Nice to meet you. Would it be okay if I do a quick interview with you?
What kind of interview?
It's my name's Howard. Nice to meet you. About conspiracies and kind of like manipulation of the masses, kind of propaganda, stuff that we're told to believe by the authorities. Sound interesting? Great. Okay. Well, just to start with, we all heard about the 9/11 not being 100% right. You know, we hear that it was Bin Laden, but we hear that Bin Laden was trained by the CIA, and we never saw Bin Laden's body. It got dumped in the ocean. And I don't know if you remember, but as well as the Twin Towers, there was a third World Trade Center tower that was quite short. But we never hear about that, because if a plane went into that, how come none of the tall buildings around it got hit? So there's a lot of reasons why 9/11 doesn't add up. Here's a few. I'll just show the camera what I'm showing you. Before 9/11 happened, The Simpsons showed 9/11 Twin Towers. The Sesame Street showed the Twin Towers being eaten. Loads of cartoons, loads of movies like Super Mario Brothers, Die Hard. They're all showing the Twin Towers getting blown up. That's a little bit suspicious, surely. These were years before 9/11 happened, so it's what we call predictive programming. If we're shown something so many times by Hollywood or cartoons, we think it's fantasy or it's coincidence. I don't think that there can be so many coincidences when there's also so much stuff about Bin Laden and all the other things with the aeroplanes.
From my point of view, this is not a coincidence. This is a proper planned incident.
Brilliant. I'm glad we agree on that. Because as well as 9/11, you've only got to look at how many movie stars and singers are promoting... I'll have to pause. So we were just agreeing on there's more than a coincidence with the eye signals and also the predictive programming before 9/11. So my next question is, I don't expect you to believe me, because I think the problem is that we believe too much other people. Instead of believing our senses and using our knowledge from experience, we seem to believe what we're told instead of believing what we see. So I ask you, because we're in a restaurant, I'm pretty sure you'll have a thermometer somewhere. If you get a thermometer for food or for liquid, you can test the temperature is the same of water. You take it outside, the two glasses, you leave one in the shade at night time and one in the light of the moon. And after 20 minutes, I found that the water in the moonlight drops 2-3 degrees. It chills, where the one in the shade stays the same. Now, to me, that's scientific evidence that the moon is not a reflection of sunlight, as we're told, because sunlight is hot. So if we were going to reflect sunlight, it should be warm or neutral. But if it makes things colder, even though it's only a little bit, it makes things colder. I'm not asking you to believe me, I'm just saying, if you did this experiment and you had the same result, that the water gets cold under the moonlight, would you then believe that we're being lied to about the moon? Because they say they've walked on the moon and it's rock. I think they're lying. I think 60 years ago, they took a lot of money, spent a little bit on Hollywood, and we all bought the bullshit, and for 60 years I think they've been lying, because Michael Jackson is the only person that can do the moonwalk. I don't believe Neil Armstrong went on the moon, because if moonlight is cold, that means it's not a reflection of the sun. It's a light. So if you can't walk on the sun, you can't walk on the moon. If the sun is hot, it's positive or masculine. The moon is cold, which means it's negative, or if we may, feminine. Now, feminine, because females renovate their ovaries every month. They have new babies, and they have the one that then it dies, the ones that don't. Well, the moon grows light, full moon, and then it decreases, just like the ladies. So that's why we say it's feminine. And when you look at the moon, when it's in the west and the sun's in the east, technically that's a straight line, and we're in the middle, and we're underneath because they're both above our horizon. So when you see a half moon in the west or a half moon in the east when the sun is directly opposite it, that's another evidence that it's not a reflection of the sunlight, because we should see the whole moon. So by not seeing the whole moon, and by seeing that the moon chills water, I'm pretty certain that it's not a reflection of sunlight, and that we don't know what it is, but it could be that Earth is the nucleus, and our atmosphere is a big atom. And just like you are made of little atoms, you have a magnetic field, you are the nucleus, you have chakras, which are like the planets, you have solar plexus, sun, you have a moon, you have Uranus, you have all them chakras. So I'm thinking that the moon and the sun are in our atmosphere, and that we're in a big atom. Because when I look at the recordings of the moonwalk, or the moon landing, or what Earth looks like from the moon, there's a few things that don't make sense. The distances are wrong, and also there's never any stars. Have a look for yourself. There's no stars anywhere. That tells me that they're fake. And when I say the distances, when Neil Armstrong was on the moon, Earth was small. But when they show us the moon, the dark side of the moon, Earth's big. Now they're both from NASA, so they're lying or they're wrong. How big is the moon? Because I can see the horizon in his helmet, I can see the horizon behind him. So either the moon is very small or it's a studio. That's why there's no stars. Okay? But even Red Bull made a jump from 40 kilometers high, and the horizon's eye level, it should drop. And we don't see it drop when we're in an aeroplane, a hot air balloon, or when he opened the door at 40 kilometers high. It's always level. If it was a ball, it should go down as we go up. When you see the roundness on YouTube, you can watch the official video, ask yourself, where's the ocean? It's all brown. But Earth's 70% water, they show us and tell us. So it's clearly bullshit. The next one I want to show you is that the stars come into focus with a normal, good camera. So they can't be that far away. You can make a video with a good camera and you'll see that they make different shapes, like symbols, like McDonald's. The symbol can give us subliminal messages. It can inspire us with ideas, like McDonald's. We see it, we get hungry. They know what colours and what shapes and the golden ratio in the logo to affect our subconscious brain. Symbols can affect us, they inspire us. So I believe if we looked at the stars more, like the ancients did, astrologers, we could get inspired from the changing symbols, geometric symbols, the changing colours, and even the frequency. You know, twinkle, twinkle, little star. It's like Morse code or binary, ... 1, 001, 1001. There's information just in the frequency of a star. There's emotion in the colour. And there's definitely subliminal messages in the symbols, but they tell us, don't look at stars, they're very far away. They can't be that far away because my camera can't see that far away with such detail. There's no blurriness, there's no discoloration, there's no mirroring, there's no missing parts, it's a complete image. And you watch it in slow motion and you see it's beautiful. Plus, if the sun was shooting around the Milky Way like they tell us at 500,000 miles an hour, and every other star and planet was moving from this big bang, yeah? Well, how come we see the same stars as the Egyptians, the Aztecs and the Mayans? Because they carved in stone the calendar of the 12 constellations. Aquarius with the water, Scorpio with the claws. Scorpio's claws are still in the same place. Aquarius hasn't dropped any water. The Egyptians made the 3 pyramids of Giza under the belt of Orion. Orion hasn't gained any weight. He hasn't got any thinner. The pyramids are still in line with Orion. So if in 5 to 10,000 years we can't measure any change in distance from any star, and we can't see any disfiguration in the constellations, then surely then there is no Big Bang. The theory of Big Bang is probably bullshit, because if we can measure the distance to the sun, the distance to the stars, the distance to God, why can't we measure any change in angle or distance over 5 to 10,000 years? We have historical evidence carved in stone. So I'm pretty sure it's all lies, and that they've been taking a lot of money and giving us a lot of fake images for a long time. They say there's a lot of satellites in space, yet you've never seen the weather in real time. You always see cartoons. I'll have to pause. Thank you for letting me record this and in between your work. This is important, because if we're mentally enslaved, the only way to break free, truth, is the only thing that can set us free. Knowledge is power. You've heard all the famous sayings. It's true. Yeah. We've got to spread the truth. So that's what I'm trying to do when I offer in money to people to show me evidence contrary to mine. And when I'm going around making interviews, it's not to try and get famous, because I'm getting mostly insults and abuse from people on YouTube. I don't care. I know that science should be observable, measurable, and repeatable. Yeah. It shouldn't be believing in lies of other people, secondary information. We should use our eyes. Just like, fire is hot, ice is cold, water is wet. These things can be proven. So, just like we've agreed, the stars obviously haven't changed because they were carved historically thousands of years ago. My next one is satellites. They tell us that there's 3,000 to 5,000 satellites in orbit around space, yet in no country have we ever watched a weather report in real time. I've been India and there's a monsoon, but they won't show us the monsoon from above. There could be a tornado or a hurricane somewhere in America, but they never show it from outer space above. Yet we're supposed to believe that there's thousands of satellites in space. Yet every time we watch the weather, it's a cartoon. Disney, Marvel. Now I can watch Spider-Man 1,000 times, but I know it's not real. But for some reason we keep seeing a globe and we believe it's real. So here's 2 things about satellites. 3. 1, we've never seen the weather in real time. 2, if I make a hole in a gas canister or a balloon, the gas will escape because it's more pressure, and it'll escape to get equal pressure to the environment it's in. So if Earth is surrounded by a vacuum of space, and we've got thousands of holes in our ozone layer from all these rockets and satellites going out, why hasn't our air escaped to equal to the vacuum? Why have we still got an atmosphere if we know that when you break a balloon or a gas canister, air escapes? So there's never a real weather report. Gas doesn't seem to be escaping. And thirdly, we see satellite towers for 3G on all the big mountains and buildings, and we see that space is supposed to be so hot, from 200 to 2,000 to 2,000 degrees centigrade. No metal or plastic or rubber would withstand that heat. So there's so many reasons that prove satellites are not in space. They're also scamming us. So just like NASA, who take $52 million a day, not a year, 19 billion a year, it's $52 million a day. Now add that to the Indian Space Agency, the Russian Space Agency, the Chinese, the Japanese, who else? We're probably losing over $100 million a day Now, I've been to Peru, I've been to India, I've been to Egypt. I've seen a lot of poverty myself, and I know that that money could go to better resources, investments to help the poverty and the hunger around the world. So there's a lot of money just in the space agencies, never mind the satellites, that's going to shit. It's going to waste, okay? So that's now my last point. We're told we live on a ball, okay? They tell us that we're living on a pear shape, but they show us a ball, yet we've never seen water bend, and mathematics don't lie. I'll show you now. There should be 8 inches per mile squared. There's 5 ways to calculate it. The math can be confirmed. Now we're in Benidorm, 20 miles. There should be about 70 meters drop. This is in miles. I've got it in kilometers as well. So math doesn't lie. Now we're in Benidorm. We can see San Juan Alicante Beach from here. At water level, we can see the buildings from top to bottom in the day. That proves there's not 70 metres drop, because some of those buildings are only 30, 40 metres tall, and we can see them all. So how can there be 70 metres drop if we can see the buildings from top to bottom in the daytime? Even better, not only can we see the short buildings from top to bottom in the daytime, at night time, when you finish work, go down to the beach and just have another look at night time. You'll see all the street lights illuminated. So all the street lights are lit, and you can see them from 33 kilometres, that's 20 miles. The street lights are only about 12 to 15 metres above the sea level. So how can there be 70 metres drop if we can see the street lights along the beachfront 20 miles away at night time? So they're lying to us about the shape of the earth. We see water is always level, no matter what shape the surface underneath. So if water's always level, no matter what distance, how can we be on a ball? Now, I think that the Earth's flat because that's what I see, and that's what all science is showing, scientific evidence. But it doesn't really matter what I believe, it's what I know. I know that we're not on a ball 40,000 kilometres, 25,000 miles in circumference, because if we were, there'd be evidence measurable at water level, but there isn't. So I believe the Earth's flat. I know it's not the ball that they show us, because that would be observable, and it's not. So I believe it's flat because that's the evidence that I see. I know it can't be what they tell us. So they're lying to us about the situation of where we are in the universe. They're lying to us about the shape of our Earth. And you look at the yin-yang symbol, and it starts to make more sense. Just like you're the nucleus and you have a magnetic field, you're a big atom made of little atoms. We are on the nucleus, whatever shape it is. We're in a big magnetic field called the atmosphere, and we have a negative and a positive polarity electron and a proton circling above us, like we see them moving above us. They're the same size, like they look. One gives hot, one gives cold. So we have an electron, sun, and a proton, moon. Just like your chakras, the solar plexus and all that. Well, I don't think that the planets are rock. I think the planets are like chakras, they're energy, they're maybe suns, moons, electrons, protons in other parts of this universe, be it our other atmospheres of other parts of the land, I don't know. But I know that with my camera, I can see that even the planets changing size and shape a little bit. I see the stars changing symbols, so they can't be as far away, they can't be what they tell us. So we're being lied to about where we are. Now it's not just the money, over 100 million a day, it's also the mental manipulation that we are lost in space. We're insecure. We feel like we need to be protected and governed, where really we've had the technology in our hands since Facebook came out. We could have had a platform where we vote yes, no, or put our own idea, Every day we could be voting for things in our town, in our province, in our country, worldwide. We could be voting for things. Why do we need politicians? We don't need government, because govern is to control, ment is the mind, government is just to control us. They make us fear and insecure and lost in space so that we think we need them. We don't realise our connection to each other, brothers. We don't realise our connection to this earth because we're lost in space. So we could be helping people in other countries with money. We could be loving each other and looking after the environment better if we realised how responsible we should be, because we're probably contained in an atom here, this atmosphere, where we think we're lost in space, everything's material, we only live for money. And that's what they want. Like a rabbit with a carrot dangling in front of it, they know how to tease us and misguide us, because they give us a set belief system where we're better off saying we don't know where we are, we don't know what shape the earth is. Maybe it's a fourth dimensional shape that we can't see as three-dimensional beings. It's better to say we don't know and have our own imagination and unlimited beliefs and look for truth, look for goodness, rather than think we know everything. We're better off admitting we don't know everything. And I promise this is the last part. This is the main reason I'm going round. NASA are stealing money that could go to better use. I have to repeat this to make sure the viewers get this as well. They're stealing money that could go to better use. They're manipulating our minds and dumbing us down so that we lose our connection to each other and the environment. And the worst thing is, in 50 countries, this is in Spanish, but in 50 countries around the world, they're modifying the weather with artificial technology that they call condensation, but the Spanish government are great because they admit that it's happening. And when you look on their website, it shows you that NASA are the ones behind it. So not only do I think we shouldn't be playing with nature, because we're not gods, okay? So we might be making the weather worse. But not only do I know that we shouldn't be, not only do I believe we shouldn't be playing with nature, when I realised that NASA are the ones informing the Spanish government and these 50 governments around the world that have signed up for this technology, I think, hold on. They're stealing our money, they're manipulating our minds, it looks like they're poisoning us also, so that we need their medications or whatever, or just to make us docile with fluoride or whatever. I don't know, but I'm sure that we should be investigating more. But nobody investigates because we all believe that we can trust the government, we believe that we can trust NASA, and we believe that we're lost in space. We're better off being a bit more skeptic and having an open mind and realising that anything that's got money behind it tends to manipulate and lie for profit. So I don't ask you to believe any of this that I've shown you. I'm just planting seeds so that you can take some time and look into it yourself. I'll give you my card so you can check out all of this information in your own time, and I beg you, go on YouTube, look at the other stuff that people are releasing, go to the beach at night, like I say, to see the street lights, because that'll prove to you for certain that there isn't 70 metres drop like there should be. And if you see the same results as me, I beg you, the only way we can break free from this manipulations and theft and poisoning is by spreading information between our friends and family. The truth can set us free. Knowledge is power. I know they're cliches, but it's true. If enough people realise that we're being lied to and wake up to this, they're going to not be able to lie anymore. They're going to have to either disappear, give the money back, or at least end the poisoning, the theft and the manipulation. So I only ask that you check it out, and if you do see the same as me, tell everybody you know, spread the truth, and tell them to spread the truth. It's up to us to break free. We've got to save ourselves. We can't expect the authorities to all of a sudden turn honest when they've been lying to us for so long. It's corrupt, and there's a lot of evil behind this. To keep us dumb in this, is an easy way to keep us blind to many other things in life. This isn't the only problem in the world, but it's a good way to start waking people up. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you for letting me do the interview. Do I have your permission to put this on internet, the video?
No problem.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you next time I'm in the area.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye bye. Estamos en Rincón de Loins, Benidorm, mirando los chemtrails super largos. Nos están fumigando.